Welcome back to Save the Pumpkins podcast. Who do we have with us today? Oh, that would be Amy.
And this is Shane. And what are we doing today? 2020's Love Under the Olive Tree, starring
Tori Anderson as Nicole Cabela and Benjamin Hollingsworth as Jake Brandini.
You got it. There you go. No need to read the rest of the cast.
Well, I would like to put a little side note there if any of you out there are watching Virgin River, which is on Netflix, Benjamin Hollingsworth is from Virgin River.
Yeah.
Just
do you
FYI.
want to plug who he plays? Does it matter?
That's let them find out.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm trying to bring the Virgin River fans
look
into
at you, Netflix representative here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we'll try to keep this one a little brief. I don't know that this is one of those super intricate movies, but so Tori Anderson plays Nicole Cabela, and she is the granddaughter of what his name is. It's not Frank, is it? No, it's Frank the other.
It's Mr. Cabela. Right?
Okay.
It's Mr. Cabela.
We're gonna go with that. Her grandfather runs Cabela Olive Oil. It's so weird to me how they pick who the heck thought of let's make it take place at an olive oil factory.
Okay, I'm going to say this at the start. Like you said, I think it's very interesting that it's olive oil because the whole time that they were testing olive oil in the movie, I'm like, wow, can you really tell a significant difference by dipping a little stick into a little bit of olive oil?
They go hard on the olive oil testing in this.
Yeah.
Like you go, oh, there was a bit of lemon in that one, and you're like,
and pepper, I'm
clearly I'm not Italian. I like olive oil, I guess, but I've never really sat down and tasted.
I mean, for a brief moment, they had me wanting to go put some in some of my little, bitty bowls and dip a stick in there and see if I could really tell the significant difference.
I just thought olive oil was olive oil.
So that's the cute little thing about this.
Yeah, for sure. So she works for, she is the granddaughter and will be eventually taking over the company. It's familiar to anyone. She'll be taking over the company. But she's actually taking over the olive oil company from her grandfather. And she is taking over, it's Cabela. And that we learn early on that she's going to be entering in the olive oil contest, which the Brandinis have won 3 years in a row, I believe is the deal. They've won the olive oil, and you get to see she's driving by the sign when she's coming back from town or whatever. You get to see that their sign looks a lot more fancy and rich, and the Cabela sign is a little more plain, a little more down home.
Yeah, so it's two men, the two grandfathers that.
We're gonna Romeo and Juliet this up a little bit. The two will like each other, and the families will have to learn.
But the two grandfathers, Cabela and Brandini, had a business together.
They did.
An olive oil business. And they broke away from each other. They had their own dispute. And he formed his own Cabela oil versus Brandini's olive oil. So now here we have not the next generation, but the...
No, you're right. And Jake, the opposite, what's his name? Hollingsworth, the guy from Virgin River?
Benjamin Hollingsworth.
Yeah, Jake, he plays Jake, and he is the grandson of the man that was...
Right,
friends with...
Raphael Brandini.
Oh, Raphael Brandini, who was friends with, I think Frank was his name, the Cabela, right? They were friends with each other. So... Jake, do you remember how they got Jake to come into town? How Jake is a lawyer and he works in a firm in the city in like New York City or wherever.
No, it's California.
Oh, it's California. Okay, he works in the city, and how do they get him to come to the town? What's the plot?
His mom calls and says that the grandfather's in the hospital.
Right, and he comes into town and it's like, my grandfather's in the hospital because he loves his grandfather. They spent really good, a lot of good time together when he was a kid. Turns out he just hurt his arm, Like it was, and he's mad at his mom. He's like, "Would you call me down here because Grandpa hurt his arm? You made it sound like he was in a bad spot."
Well, and she yells at him and basically says, "Shame on you for
not coming down,
not coming around as often. And if this is how I have to get you," she didn't feel bad for it at all. So
we get some really nice fall colors here. The problem with this movie is that, and I brought this up, and anybody that's watching it, go back and watch it. I'm telling you, there are fake fall leaves in this movie.
Yeah,
they
you
have
kept
spread
saying
some,
that throughout the whole thing.
Fake fall leaves and a fake fall tree that's outside of the houses when they're coming in. It's very strange. If it wasn't fake, it's the fakest looking fall tree I've ever seen. You know, like it was kind of rough. Like I noticed it, and I was maybe I'm looking a little bit harder than the average person, but it was rough. I thought.
Well, I'm just gonna say what bothered me the most. If you're gonna talk about how the trees bothered you.
No, I just brought it up because it was at that part in the scene where we are. But go ahead.
But there was something about Jake's hair that bothered me, and I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It just goes straight across.
I'm just gonna say it. You are looks obsessed.
Honey, throughout the whole movie, you just have to be focused on these characters.
Honey, Pascal Hutton is old.
Oh, no. We're not going to do this every episode.
Like, I'm the dude. I'm supposed to be looking at people's appearances, and if somebody's gonna, women are rough.
Listen, if the show is going to focus, if all these Hallmark and fall movies focus are these love stories with these two characters, the man and the woman, and you're constantly seeing them in every single scene, you're gonna pick up on these things, and it just that's my.
I'm gonna stop saying it. I promise this will be the last episode. I just was the dude. What is it wrong with the dude's hair? It looks like it
is unnaturally goes across his hairline. Just goes straight.
What, like
across.
Eddie Munster? Like, what do you mean?
Huh?
Like Eddie Munster? Like, what do you mean?
Yes, exactly. Yep. You said it perfectly. I mean, so if you watch this movie, please comment and tell me that you see what it is that I am seeing.
Benjamin Hollingsworth as Eddie Munster. Oh, that's too bad.
Hey, another character coming in.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the gist of it is that now, there's a competition.
Contest. Yeah, the contest for the olive oil, and what's her name?
Sticky Nikki.
Nicole. Sticky Nikki. That's right.
And what's the story behind that?
Oh, she was running with him one day and like fell and got some gum in her hair. I think when she was running one time, she fell and some gum got in her hair, and he had to like help her get it out when they were kids. You're talking about Jake and Nicole, right? Yeah. I think that's it. They don't go too deep into the Sticky Nikki because eventually he starts calling her Nicole. And
the reason why that's kind of cute is because he is the only one, because we know her as Nicole. Everybody addresses her as Nicole. He's the one that keeps calling her Nikki or Sticky Nikki, and that's the cute little blast from the past that comes.
Yeah, and we meet Adam, which is her friend, right? Adam is her friend who's helping her. He like works at Cabela, and he's helping her to fine tune the taste of the olive oil at Cabela's for the competition, right? And I'm gonna say it because it's just is what it is. They try to mock up a little bit of a, like Jake gets a little bit worried that Adam and Nicole are an item.
But that is not the case.
Adam is so obviously gay in this, like it's where they're headed.
I mean, I wouldn't say.
Oh no, it's where they're headed. No, I don't mean that the character looks.
No. I'm saying I didn't necessarily get that from the beginning when we met them.
Like they do enough with the head looks and things to make you see that Adam is in no way. In fact, she has a line. She says, "He's not my type," and I was like, "He's gay." Like, do you not? That's what she's saying. Does it? Nobody know that? Like, what?
Well, I mean, it's just
she's letting you know,
right?
And Adam is not fighting it.
Right.
Like, he's agreeing because Billy is Nicole and Jake's old friend from back in the day, and he runs the cafe. It's not, they don't call it a cafe. It's like Sunset Valley, What do you call it?
Yeah, it's like a little.
It's a cafe, but it's not called a cafe.
Like a Starbucks meets.
Yeah, it's like a little autumn cafe.
Yeah, like a breakfast place, like an IHOP meets. You know.
Is that the name of one of the movies we reviewed? Autumn Cafe? No, something. Love Struck Cafe. Anyway, so Billy runs this little cafe, and he talks to him. We get some little going back and forth there, and Adam talks to Billy a little bit, and we're like, okay, I can tell by the way they're talking to each other. Billy's gay. He's totally. They're a couple. Like, how you don't have to be.
Multiple love stories going on at one time.
Absolutely, multiple love stories going on here, and the little Billy and the Adam one is cute. I go, oh yeah, they're very compatible. They're funny, and Adam's giving him the little looks, and it's like, I just want to slap Jake in the face and say, dude, Nicole likes you. Adam is quite clearly gay and quite clearly loves Billy, and Billy is quite clearly gay too. You have no gaydar,
right?
In any way, shape, or form.
Adam was helping Nicole.
Yeah.
And Billy was clearly helping Jake, so they each
a
each
little
had
bit,
their own,
but Jake was a little too busy in his own business to get help with the Brandini olive oil. But Adam works for essentially.
Well, so the conflict in the movie is that Nicole is wanting, now that she's taking over Cabela's, she wants to expand and make a sort of a restaurant attached to the I guess the manufacturing place that makes her olive oil.
Yeah, like a little tasting place where you can,
right. So like a little, bring some food, and she has it mapped out perfectly because she mentions how the sun will set while the people are outside eating. So it's very specific where she wants to add on to the existing.
Real talk, it's like
dwelling.
10 feet. Huh? It's like 10 feet.
Right. And so, but
the expansion area is like 10 feet.
She has it mapped out, and when Jake comes home and gets a tour of the property, he thinks that
we're gonna love Fall and Order it.
Fall and Order it.
Yeah, and why did I say that?
I don't know.
Are there going to be deeds involved that show that the land doesn't belong to who you think it belongs to?
Right. So Jake brings that in and says that he thinks that her mock-up of where everything is going to be is encroaching on their property, and they look further into it, and that is the case. And then they take it before the judge, and the judge says basically, hey, we're getting ready to go into this olive oil competition.
What judge wouldn't
right
base her ruling on an olive oil contest?
Right, because we're a small town, everybody knows each other, let's make it fun.
Sure.
So since we're going into this contest, whoever wins best olive oil gets the right to that little piece of property, and Nicole and Jake agree to it, and so it's on.
Yeah, the rest of the movie we spend with Adam helping Nicole, and they can never get it right. And she talks about how her and her grandfather used to make it with like the authentic press, the original, like the antique press that they used to make it with, and it had a different taste, and it was called like Sunset Cabela or something, or Sunrise or something like that. Anyway, she tells Adam that, and they can never quite get it right. Meanwhile, Jake didn't know anything about making olive oil, and he's just flat out going into the good on him. Dude's going into the place and learning. He's getting with the people that make it and tasting it and going, nah, it's too much lemon, there's not enough lemon. It's cool. Like, they showed these two putting in the work. If you are someone who wants to see someone put in the work, they show them putting in the work. And they have some interesting, of course, Jake and Nicole they spend time together, they ride bikes together, and they start to learn multiple things. That they kind of like each other, and that there were a series of misunderstandings. You want to tell us what they are?
Well, before we get to that,
okay.
I like to say how they made a nice comparison of how her family is more the old school way of doing and making the olive oil, and how everything is very simplistic, whereas the Brandinis, they're, things like their labeling,
more industrial,
right? Yeah. And it kind of mimics also Jake's way of life and her way of life, like he's like that corporate in the corporate world, busy, fast paced, and she's more, take time and do it right.
Very much so, yes.
And so I thought that was a nice little, and then, he gives her a spreadsheet or something to help with accounting.
He does the Pumpkin Pie Wars thing where he gives her the accounting software to help her out. In this case, in that case, Julie Gonzalo actually gives the guy. He's the chef, and she's the accountant. It's just a little gender switch there, but yeah, he gives her some accounting software to help her out because he doesn't see her as an enemy.
Right. So it's like small town meets big city, and I thought that
she helps him learn how to be more on hands.
Right. I thought it was a nice like yin and yang, like opposites attract kind of.
Been done before, but good.
Right. Yeah. So I liked it a lot.
But we learned that. Do you want me to tell, or do you want to tell the two things that we learned, that they're the misunderstandings? One of them you kind of had a problem with until we talked about it. But
go ahead.
So when they were little kids and they were riding bikes one day, because Jake's grandfather, by the way, Raphael, why did I say it like he was a Ninja Turtle? It's Raphael, but Raphael is the way Splinter says it.
Because
anyway.
You just watched Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. So when they were riding bikes when they were little kids, Nicole overheard Jake talking to his grandfather about how he didn't want to spend any more time with her. And she assumed he was talking about her. Well, he wasn't. He was talking about his math tutor or something. And he was like, oh my gosh, did you really think that I didn't want to spend time with you all that time? So she made some assumptions. And they also learned that Raphael, Jake's grandfather, never intended, there was a misunderstanding with him, and I think his name is Frank, but I'm probably just messing that up. But Nicole's grandfather, because they worked together, like you said, at one time, there was a misunderstanding where Raphael wanted to take the business, Jake's grandfather wanted to take the business and expand on it, but not kick Frank out, not swindle him, just change some things, go bigger, be a little bigger. And Frank misunderstood that and thought that another thing that a simple conversation would have just taken care of. But it's been many years since that misunderstanding, so they split and they made their own brands of olive oil. But the point is that they learned that Jake's grandfather, it was a complete misunderstanding. The thing Frank believes about him is untrue. It's not true, and that they just need to talk. In fact, before the movie gets to the conclusion, Nicole tells her grandfather, I don't think the Brandinis are bad. Like his grandfather's been sweet to me these past few days. He's always liked me. He's very kind. He showed me around the place. He's not hiding corporate secrets. He's a good guy. You guys should talk. Like and her dad's like, I don't know. Her grandfather's like, no, there's nothing we can learn from them or whatever.
Well,
right?
Okay, his name is Frank, by the way.
It is Frank? Oh, good.
So yeah, you were right. And secondly, I think this is the most like, what's the word? Non-evil separation. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like you said, miscommunication, that if they would have just spoken with each other, everything would have been fine. But they don't make it seem like that they're like split, like nasty, the grandfathers. Like, it was just well,
it was a misunderstanding. Yeah,
right. But they're not like, they're not like, ha ha ha.
The whole families to each other are like, you guys steal everything. But they're like, it's funny. It's played laughs. Yeah, you're right. It's not as serious.
Mature. It's like, it's a mature
a little bit. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I go with that.
And so I think, and then like everything about it just stays within that same.
Very wholesome.
Right.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. Maybe a little too wholesome, but not really. It is a very much a blueprint Hallmark movie. It doesn't jump out and do something interesting and weird and different, but the performances in it, I think you would agree, are all very good. They're very good. The Tori Anderson, is that her name? Mm-hmm. She's fantastic. She's beautiful. Looks a little bit like Taylor Swift, don't you think? Looks a little like Taylor. I look at her IMDb page. She looks like Taylor Swift.
No, I would say more like Brie Larson.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, I mean, no, I like Brie Larson. I didn't mean it like that, but no, I don't. It doesn't matter. I was just contributing to your looks discussions, and mine were all positive.
Mine are positive too.
No, what are you going to say? It's constructive criticism. No. The two have good chemistry together. Maybe not. They're not Nikki DeLoach and Andrew Walker charisma, but it's good. It's very good. But I think the film is good as well. I guess we could talk about the ending a little bit. They do have a completely stupid misunderstanding at the end of it. Oh, we'll say this. This is one of your favorite ones. I'm going to let you bring it up. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to let you say what what the joke is. They have the contest, and of course, Nicole. I won't spoil the contest. Doesn't matter. They have the contest, and the judge is at the contest, and she plays in a band. She's playing guitar, and what's the name of the band?
Authority Figureheads. I thought that was so cute when I saw it on the poster.
Yeah, that was good. That's good.
And so basically, to sum it up,
misunderstanding at the end that I thought was sort of tacked on, and she could have just walked over and said 2 words to him, and it would have been fine. And it ends sweet enough.
Right.
So, yeah.
So there's there's a conflict within the conflict that gets resolved. She brings back the old school olive oil that she had made from the past. She goes up to the judges and says, "Hey, can I change my submission?" They agree. She brings back the sunrise or the sunset olive oil from the past, and winds up winning.
Yeah.
And
you just say you spoiled us. I was gonna let it go. We didn't tell who won the
I know.
contest.
I just kept going, and then I realized where I was gonna end. But
no, that's okay.
And so everything ends on a great note. The grandfathers talk it out.
That was actually, I got a little emotional there at the end when he went back to see him and brought him some of the olive oil or whatever. I was like, oh, when these things have a heart, that's when they're best, when they tell human stories, when they don't try to tell stories that are, I don't know, for their demographic or whatever, when they just tell stories that anybody could like. I think that's when they're at their best. That was really sweet. You're right. I like that. I like the movie. I don't know that I loved it, but then again, this is the second time. I know I kind of forced this one on you, but this is the second time we've watched it, so I guess I can't say anything too negative about it. Directed, I always like to give the director the credit, even though I don't. Who knows? This is Peter DeLuise. Do you know what else he directed?
No.
The Harvest Moon, the Jesse Hutch and Jesse Scram movie that we like.
Ooh,
so he directed that one. So I get that. I mean, when you see it, you can kind of see a similar vibe. Don't get me wrong. I think all the Hallmark directors.
It's like night and day, though, a little bit.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I really, really wish we could get somebody on our podcast and do an interview with them about how these films are made. It would be utterly fascinating because it's just a blueprint. Like it's just a blueprint. But yeah, I liked it. I think if you were to force me on a star rating on it, I'd probably go. Are we only doing like 0.5? 5 tenths of
0 to 5.
No. I mean, like if can we do like 4.1, 4.2?
Mm-hmm.
I'd go like a 3.2.
Okay. I would give it about a 3.8.
Wow, you like see there? Then I have to give it higher because there's no way you like this more than me.
I honestly didn't think. Was there conversation as exciting to watch as Nikki DeLoach or Andrew Walker or Erin Cahill or Ashley Williams? No, but I don't think that they flubbed it. I think that it still flowed. It just wasn't to me as like believable as them.
And both good actors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've watched some of these. I'm not going to bring up any names with people that walk from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen in a pumpkin patch. We've watched some of these that have had some bad acting and like unforgivable bad acting.
I think
this is not that.
To be honest, I think watching Benjamin Hollingsworth character in Virgin River to me is a little bit more convincing. His character on that show than his character here.
We should just do that. You don't want to talk about Love Under the Olive Tree. You want to talk about Virgin River.
No, I'm just saying because I know him in two separate things. I like him better staying in Virgin River.
You don't want him to
I don't want him to cross
come
over.
To this town.
I don't want him to cross over.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I like his character better over there. So
he's not a lawyer there.
No. He plays kind of like a bad boy.
Bad boy. Oh, does he have a Tori Anderson over there? Tori.
Oh, his counterpart in Virgin Ripper. I like her. She's cute. So, but Tori Anderson is gorgeous. So, I mean,
look at her again, Taylor Swift.
No,
I'm not
Brie
wrong.
Larson. I'm sorry.
No, look at her again, Taylor Swift. Very much.
Well, if anybody comments and they want to say what they think,
you can just go to the comments and say.
See which one they favor. Are you in favor
right.
of more Brie Larson or more Taylor Swift?
Yeah, I didn't put a poll up, but I'm right. So the poll would be: is Shane right or is he really right? All right. This was good. I liked it. Now I have to adjust my rating though. I can't give it a 3.2 because I'm thinking of things that are like in the bigger scope of Hallmark movies, and you gave it a 3.8, and I know I enjoyed it more than you did. But we'll have to think about it.
No, because I appreciated the wholesomeness of it. So that's why I gave it a little bit higher.
I appreciate the wholesomeness. I think I'm the one that said wholesome.
I look when I watch these movies, I am very picky about scenery. I want it to give me that warm, fuzzy feeling, being that it's the fall season. This is a fall movie. I want it to have that fall rustic.
What's the blueprint? What's the movie that you go, that's what you should be doing, trying to do for me? The blueprint of fall.
I want the leaves.
No, I think it was the movie with Tyler Hines and the girl falling for you. You remember that one where she was a radio?
Right.
Yes. That's fall, period. And he had his little cardigans on, and you're like, I like the way he dresses.
Like the way that they dress, the way that wherever they put them in the next scene, like, you know, I want to feel like, are they drinking hot chocolate? Because then I can like feel like the warmth of the cup and know like what that feels like to drink the hot chocolate like it's warm on a fall day. Like those are important to me. Those are the things like that I'm looking at. Yes, so then I am going to be picky about how they look because like you said, the cardigans that Tyler Hines wears or the boots, you know, that women tend to start wearing in fall, and the sweaters and the long coats. Like that's all what makes that kind of feeling come to life in these.
The atmosphere, for the fall atmosphere.
You know, and like, so if I'm not seeing that and I'm not feeling it, then, you know.
Yeah.
There were no pumpkins in this one. There were the leaves that you said were on fake trees.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, wait a minute. Don't take it back. You gave it a 3.8, so you liked it. So watch it. Don't backtrack too much.
I liked it because it was wholesome, is what I said.
Okay.
And the actors did not do a bad job.
No, you can't go higher because
that's the only thing that's carrying it.
Yeah.
So
I liked it as well. That was, I think you summed it up. I don't have to say anything.
Okay. Well, let us know what you think, and remember to do something that makes you happy today.
Yep. Thanks, guys.